I'm Yoni Appelbaum. I'm a grad student at Brandeis University and a correspondent for The Atlantic. Well, it's a bit of an odd journey. I started commenting on one of the blogs there, and the blogger, Ta-Nehisi Coates, got back in touch with me and had questions for me about history. He could tell that I had some knowledge, and we struck up a correspondence between the two of us, and he eventually went to his editor and suggested that he find a space for me under the Atlantic's masthead, and they did. You know, I think that the differences aren't actually as large as I'd expected. The bigger difference, frankly, is writing when I have some idea of who's reading the things that I produce. So the biggest shift in writing for The Atlantic has been the knowledge that some pieces go viral and some pieces sink virtually without a trace. And trying to learn how to attract audiences and how to make the things that I have to say compelling to audiences, and trying to iteratively master the skill of writing good historical narrative. That's something which is applicable in either sphere, but is a lot easier to refine and a lot more necessary to refine when you're writing for a popular audience and people are going to read you or not, but you don't have an audience of reviewers and respondents who are being paid to read you. Whenever I sit down to write something for them, I choose a topic where I have something original to contribute. And that's no different than doing history in a scholarly context. I want to synthesize an existing scholarly literature, blend it with new primary research, and come to a conclusion that justifies the effort and my reader's time and investment of attention. So that's held true in both The Atlantic and in writing academic history. My academic interests will often bring me to topics I might not otherwise have considered, which I don't want to pursue in a scholarly context, but which are well suited to a broader popular audience at a place like The Atlantic. Mm-hmm. So one of the nice things for historians working today is that we have available to us this toolkit of digital methodologies that we can dip into and use and apply to problems that surface in our work. I was looking at the Knights of Labor down in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I wanted to understand how they related to other groups in the city. And I actually ended up using a piece of software developed for mapping cellular biology called Cytoscape, but is broadly used now in social network analysis. I found a variety of archival sources which listed the names of members in that city, and was able to map the relationships among them in ways that really not only helped, I think, readers visualize what it was I was trying to say, but revealed new things to me I would not have found simply looking at the paper records. Most surprisingly, the organizations overlapped in ways that I wouldn't have expected. I was able to pinpoint which members were sort of the nexus of the social world of Raleigh in the period. So there were ways in which I could more easily quantify relationships among groups that I might have partially intuited but not otherwise been able to demonstrate to the satisfaction of any sort of readership. Well, we're already seeing that some of the initial pioneering work that was done in the field is increasingly difficult to access. Sometimes faculty members have moved on from the institutions that initially hosted or sponsored it. Sometimes they used cutting-edge tools, which have since passed into obsolescence, to just preserving the tools to read the data. If something was recorded on a 5.5-inch floppy, it's not so easy to get that back off. The data decays, links rot over time. As we explore these new tools, they can give us incredibly powerful means of analyzing the past, but they're a lot less stable, as it turns out, than the simple technology of ink on paper. Digital technologies present something of a paradox. It is easier than ever for us to spread our work out there, but that's also increased the value of filters, of the wide variety of ways that historians have traditionally used to distinguish their work and to locate high-quality work. So it's easier than ever for things to spread, but those tools we employed, like presses and journals, to sift through the vast array of work being done in the historical space and select those which are particularly worthy of our attention are also getting more valuable. The Internet's also done something else. It has placed a priority on the kind of work that historians do. There is a uniquely good match between the methodologies and the interests of historians and the appetites of the social web. This is the term applied to the emerging space that includes things like Facebook and Twitter, where users connect peer-to-peer, and this is a very different model than the traditional model of publishing, where somebody selects the content and pushes it out to the readers. The social web tends to reward original content, which historians are fabulously good at creating, particularly original content that was not previously digital. We are experts, by definition, at going into archival spaces, material culture spaces, retrieving things and making them accessible to the public, and the Internet has a real hunger for that. The social web also rewards relatively high-quality long-form content. Partially that's because people share things they think reflect well upon them. And history articles are often something that readers are eager to show to their friends. And finally, I think that there's a really good match between the kinds of narrative and argument that historians are accustomed to producing and the kinds of narrative and argument that work particularly well online. So there's a real opportunity here matched to the challenge that this work may not persist, may be difficult to access down the road. And we've got to master those challenges, but not lose sight of the greater and broader opportunity to reach out and connect with popular audiences.